Tanchikiwao, hello everyone. My name is Alana Robert and I'm a board member and youth council member for the Ontario Native Women's Association, the oldest and largest Indigenous women's organization in Canada. We are here amplifying the collective voices of over 30 Indigenous women's organizations, and we have 3 recommendations to share with the EMRIP. First, we recommend that EMRIP urge states to immediately implement the UNDRIP in collaboration with Indigenous women and their organizations. We agree with the EMRIP and the Special Rapporteur that legislation and action plans have not led to actual changes in the daily lives of Indigenous peoples. This has had particularly severe consequences on Indigenous women's safety. In 2019, the final report on missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls was released in Canada. It contained 231 legal imperatives to enhance the safety of Indigenous women. However, 5 years later, there remains little political will to end the ongoing genocide against Indigenous women and girls in Canada, with only 2 of the 231 legal imperatives having been fulfilled to date. The inaction in response to this crisis is a form of structural violence against Indigenous women and girls. Additionally, the expert mechanism study on achieving UNDRIP recognizes that Indigenous women and our organizations in Canada have been concerned that the UNDRIP action plan lacks detailed implementation measures, does not call for specific legislative amendments, and it has not provided for sufficient time for consultations. Securing the safety of Indigenous women, girls, and future generations requires that our rights be upheld and honored under the UNDRIP. 2, we recommend that EMRIP urge states to honor Indigenous women's inherent rights by ensuring Indigenous women's full and meaningful participation and leadership to advance UNDRIP implementation. Indigenous women are life givers, water protectors, and land defenders. We represent ourselves, our families, and future generations. We hold the solutions to the issues that we face. Canada has adopted a nation-to-nation policy for Indigenous relations, which often excludes Indigenous women's voices and compromises our ability to take up our inherent leadership roles. We urge the EMRIP to facilitate accountability across the UN systems for Indigenous women's rights to be upheld. And number 3, we urge EMRIP to call on United Nations entities and member states to finance Indigenous women and our organizations. The UNDRIP affirms Indigenous women's right to develop and design our own programs and administer them through our own institutions. Indigenous women's organizations need sustainable, flexible, and multi-year financing to provide the life-promoting and transformational services that our communities require. We call for investments into Indigenous women's agencies, as an investment into Indigenous women is an investment into our families and entire communities. Kichi Merci, thank you.